Welcome back to DXB Today, where tonight's episode is specifically about media awareness. Our media awareness, your media awareness, and awareness in general during what are uncertain times. To that end, look, AI goes without saying has evolved so quickly that spotting the difference between what's real and what's fake can be, well, quite challenging. To find out more, we are now joined by none other than Dr. Najla Dawood Al-Fatesi, an AI expert, university professor at the Canadian University, joining us live here on the sofa. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I don't really know what's. It's interesting that obviously we've seen it. We mentioned there the evolution of AI. It's been with us for many years, but we've really seen it come to the fore in recent years as more and more people have got access to AI tools. And yet we are time and time again hearing how much of a problem AI is for us when it comes to content creation, especially in a news realm. Is AI or fake AI content a problem when it comes to news, or how big is the problem?
I would say it's a very much growing problem. Nowadays, we're seeing, like you mentioned, more and more AI that's used by the general public. So part of the problem is the scale. So it's very much easy to use artificial intelligence to create any type of misinformation, for instance. So the scale that it's being able to be created and spread is growing, and that's a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Doctor, are there tools out there that can locate or spot AI that has been created by a separate entity? You know, that can you use AI to spot AI?
Very much. A lot of people see it as part of the problem. It's not as much the problem, but it's a tool. How people are using it is the problem. And it's part of the solution as well, because like you mentioned, yes, there are a lot of tools that can be used to spot artificial intelligence created type of content.
And Dr. Najla, I know that, personally, I've used AI before in my filmmaking field. It's so easy to download these, apps, and even there's packages you can go on websites and do these things. What sanctions or what kind of rules and regulations are being placed to kind of protect people from creating, from those who create those fake news and fake videos that kind of create this chaos within social media, especially in these types of situations?
Well, unfortunately, it seems like we have adopted the use of artificial intelligence before we were ready with the safeguards and regulations to keep up with that. So we're seeing more and more regulations put into place. For example, we've got in the EU, the EU AI Act, for instance, and here in the UAE as well, we're seeing more and more regulations, but we need to do a lot more to be able to be fully prepared for what's coming with how the spread of AI is now.
Exactly, like you said, there's a lot of AI to ingest, and there's so many different tools that people are using at the moment to generate photos, to generate videos, deep fakes. They can take any politician's face and make it their own and talk about something that's happening, and that can create a public issue for people without it being real. What do you think is the problem? Is AI the problem, or is how people are using it or interpreting it in that sense is the problem itself?
It's more about how people are using it. Unfortunately, people like to cause havoc and chaos.
Yeah.
So they're using it in a way that's unethical, for instance. And we need to raise more awareness in terms of how people should use it. Back in the days, we would see that professionals and researchers who had access to it. But it's not so much the case anymore, where anyone from the general public, the average person, does not need any type of technical skills to create AI-generated content. So there are a lot of different tools that are freely available for the public to use, and that's a big part of the problem. So not enough awareness, and we need to educate people on what they should be sharing and what type of content they should be generating.
To that end, maybe you could sort of share with us a red flag, or rather a piece of advice to content users out there at the moment. If you receive content and you got the question mark we were talking about do I share this with my network or not, what should we be thinking before we post and share?
I would say take a pause, take a little beat, take a few minutes to think about the content itself. Ask yourself a few questions like, where is the content coming from? Has it been verified? Who's the person who created it? And most importantly, if it's type of news. It could be very much misinformation. So we need to check with the government and authorities. Have they announced any type of news that's related to this? If they have not, then we need to have more trust in our government that they would be the right source of verifying information.
You mentioned news, so I'm going to ask you a question specific to my industry. Just ask you to speculate. With the evolution of AI, continuing apace, what does it mean for the future of news? Will news continue to? Will the human journalists continue to play an important role in the generation of content?
I would say very much so. A lot of people are worried. The big question: where is AI going to take our jobs? But there are two things to keep in mind. Who are the people who are creating these AI tools? So that would be one. And then there has to be professionals who are overseeing. So human oversight is very important in this case. So if we are using AI to generate content or news, or journalists are using it, they need to check what type of content it's coming up with. Is it based on truth, or and are the sources that it is using verified as well?
Yeah, it's something that I wanted to add to what you were saying, because yes, a lot of people are worried about their jobs being taken, and especially like, let's say, a journalist AI thing would be developed. But also something that I've been noticing is you can adjust what ChatGPT, for example, would say. Like, you'd ask it a couple of questions, it would direct you, let's say, in a sourced manner, but then the more you talk to it, it just adapts its answer to what you want to hear, which is also an issue, I think, right?
Very much.
Yeah.
I think it tells you exactly what you want to hear.
Exactly.
So it's always very positive. It's telling you nice things that you want to know or hear. So am I making the right decision? A lot of the time it would tell you that yes, you are, regardless of the truth and the reality of it. So going back to jobs and stuff, with that topic, the people who know how to use AI and create AI, those are the people who are going to be taking your jobs.
Yeah, so it's not the actual AI. That's
Not
the one
so
that's going
much,
to be
yeah.
taking your job.
So we talked about all the red flags, we talked about what to look out for. Now we want to talk about who's monitoring all these videos that are being shared and released, and what's the responsibility of those who are seeing it or who are kind of delving with posting it and stuff, in terms of the repercussions of those videos taken seriously and creating that chaos that kind of makes people upset and emotional, because they think what they're seeing or what they hear or what they're reading, even the comments, are all true.
It's a collective challenge. It's not one person's responsibility to be able to overcome these challenges that we are seeing. I would say it's the platforms that are being used that need to have the safeguards in place. It's also governments who need the right regulations in place, and also the general public who need to be more aware of what type of content that's being created and shared, and how they consume this type of information.
It's a teamwork almost towards this, because I think the other thing, and look, you are someone who's dedicated your life to AI and an AI expert in more ways than one, and yes, very easy to get sort of see AI as a bad tool at the moment when we're seeing so much fake news coming through. But again, we've got to remember AI for good, and the way that the benefits that AI is having in our life and impacting our life at the moment. So balancing the two.
We need to have a balance. Ethical AI is a big topic right now, but not enough work, I would say, is being done within this topic of ethical AI. So I would say that we need to make the right type of changes to be able to use it in the most responsible ways that's more beneficial to humanity rather than harming people. With the topic of misinformation, any type of misinformation that's being spread can cause public panic. It can cause markets as well, financial losses. People lose confidence in what's true, what's false, and also any type of, even if it comes to investment, for instance. So it's a lot of things that are very much affected by this.
Well, Dr. Najla, thank you so much for being with us and spreading the awareness of what to look out for when we come to our social media channels and our social media platforms, and those videos that might or might not be true. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been wonderful speaking to all of you.